So today we are very fortunate that we are having His Grace Krishnarchana Prabhu to enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving a valuable association. Now I would like to hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Should we start, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Should we start the lecture? Okay. Hare Krishna. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 4. Canto 4, Chapter 9. This chapter is entitled Brahman, and we are reading text 41. So before that, we are actually going to read a few verses from 38. So, Sunidis Suruchis Chasya Mahishyo Rukma Bhushite Aruhya Shivikam Sardham Uttamenahi Jagmatuhu. Both the queens of King Uttanapada, named Suniti and Suruchi, along with his other son Uttama, appeared in the procession. The queens were seated on a palanquin. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. After the departure of Dhruv Maharaj from the palace, the king was very afflicted, but by the kind words of Saint Narada he was partially satisfied. He could understand the great fortune of his wife Suniti and the great misfortune of Queen Suruchi, for these facts were certainly very open in the palace. But still, when the news reached the palace that Dhruv Maharaj was returning, his mother Suniti, out of her great compassion and due to being the mother of a great Vaishnava, did not hesitate to take the other wife Suruchi and her son Uttama on the same palanquin. That was the greatness of Queen Suniti, the mother of the great Vaishnava Dhruv Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashlakaya Chakshurmuritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishnapresthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Sarvishesha Sanyavadi Paschatyadesakarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavranda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, here the description is given about the exalted nature of Dhruva Maharaj and his mother. So, Dhruva Maharaj, he left home and he went seeking out for Lord Vishnu. And when he came back at that time, Uttanapada Maharaj was very despondent. He was despondent because Dhruva Maharaj left home, and he was worried about what might have happened to Dhruva Maharaj. He was a mere child, 5 years old, and Uttanapada was very worried about Dhruva Maharaj. At that time, Narad Muni actually comes to Uttanapada to assure him that there is no need for concern because Dhruva Maharaj has received the darshan of the Supreme Lord, and then he got great benedictions, and then now he is returning home. Hearing this, Uttanapada becomes pacified to some degree, but still, he was awaiting for his son Dhruva Maharaj to return home. At that time, a messenger arrives and he gives the news that Dhruva Maharaj has returned, and he is like on the outskirts of the city, close by, and hearing this, Uttanapala becomes overjoyed, he becomes very happy, and Vishnu becomes so happy that he takes out a very valuable necklace and gives it to the messenger, and then in a very happy, jubilant mood, he goes out of the city just to welcome Dhruva Maharaj, and his mother Suniti, of course, out of great affection, she also set out to meet Dhruva Maharaj. But she also took along with her her co-wife Suruchi and her son Uttama in the same palanquin. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Suniti, being a great devotee, she did not hesitate to take Suruchi also along with her in the same palanquin. And although actually it was Suruchi who was the cause of Dhruva Maharaj's, leaving the home, and for all the mess that was caused. Dhruva Maharaj left, and the king was in anxiety, and of course the result was very nice, that he had darshan of Lord Vishnu, and he got great boons from the Lord. At the same time, it could be expected that Suniti would have been, would have had some grudge against Suruchi because of this, but she never exhibited any such envy. Her heart was completely free from any malice or any sense of any grudge against Suruchi for her malicious behavior towards Dhruva Maharaj. So this is actually characteristic of a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava never carries any grudge or vengeance in his heart against anyone who might have caused hurt or pain or any kind of offense to him personally. So this is the fundamental quality of a Vaishnava, nirmatsaranam, that is non-envious. A Vaishnava is non-envious. So contempt, hatred, grudge, vengeance, these are all also byproducts of envy. So if there is no envy in the heart, then these things don't exist. So there is an example of a analogy actually of a saint. A saint was one day, he was walking by a river when he sees a scorpion fall from the cliff into the water. So when the scorpion falls in the water, it was drowning in the water, going to die. The saint goes into the water and he tries to save the scorpion by lifting it with his palm. He was trying to lift the scorpion from the water and throw it onto the land. So when he was doing this, then the scorpion stung him. The sting of a scorpion is extremely painful. It's burning severely. So when the scorpion stings him, immediately due to that extreme pain, the reflex action is that he dropped the scorpion back again into the water. But then again, as the scorpion fell into the water, that was drowning again. But the saint again picked it up, and again the scorpion stung him, and again he dropped it. So this thing continued for many, many times. Like the scorpion would sting him, and he would drop it, but again he would try to lift it up and throw it onto the ground, onto the land. But before that, it would sting him, and again he would drop it. So when this was happening repeatedly, then a passerby who was nearby, he would ask him, "What happened?" why do you do this? Why are you trying to save the scorpion? Then he was saying, because it's going to drown and I'm trying to save it. I said, it is stinging you and you're dropping it again, but then again, why are you going to get stung again? Why don't you give up? The saintly person said that, see, it's the nature of the scorpion to bite. And it's the nature of a saintly person to try to save, even someone who tries to bite you. So now, if the scorpion is unwilling to give up its nature, then why should I give up my nature? Being a human being, why should I be any less than the scorpion? Scorpion is always biting me, so why should I give up? And the scorpion is not giving up its nature, why should I give up mine? So hearing this, the passerby, he was like struck with wonder. So point being that a saint, his nature is titikshava karunika suhrudas sarvadehina. They're tolerant and they're merciful. So the quality of forgiveness is a combination of two qualities. It's a combination of humility and compassion. When two qualities, humility and compassion, come together, they give birth to another quality that is called kshama, or forgiveness. So we can see that many times we have the example of Jesus Christ and Haridas Thakur. They both prayed for those who tried to kill them. They never had any grudge against those who tried to kill them. In fact, they tried to save them. And there's a saying in the Bible, says that blessed are those who forgive, for they shall be forgiven. So why should we forgive others? Because we want to be forgiven. So yes, we all need to be forgiven for our sins. We all need to be forgiven for our mistakes and offenses. So the best way to receive forgiveness is to give forgiveness. When you forgive someone, then that's an excellent opportunity to receive the Lord's mercy. The Lord will also be willing to forgive you. If we are not willing to extend forgiveness to someone, why should the Lord forgive us? So therefore, if someone committed an offense to us, it is an excellent opportunity for us to, we should grab that opportunity to forgive so that we can be forgiven and be delivered. So therefore, in this material world, we can see it is not easy. Because the very fundamental characteristic of this material world is envy. So, in the material world also, in the earthly sphere, envy is very prominent. Among the demons, it's even more prominent. But among the demigods, it's a little less. Why? Because the demigods, they are, like in the Swargaloka, in the heavenly planets, everyone has their fair share of enjoyment. There is no need for anyone to violate another person's enjoyment for him or herself to be happy. Just like for example, if you have 100 apples and there are 10 people, and a person can at the most eat 1 or 2 apples, maybe 3, and you have got 100. So there is no need to compete because you have ample. But whereas if you have 10 people and you only have 8 apples, then you naturally will have to compete. So that situation is in the earthly sphere, where you have only 8 apples and you have 10 people. So you can only settle by unsettling others. In other words, if you have to enjoy, then you have to take someone else's In fact, we live, jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is food for another. So one living entity subsists or survives by the death of another. That's the law of this earthly sphere. So therefore, in order for us to rise in life, then we may have to give pain to many others. So that is the formula for success in the earthly sphere, for material success. But in the heavenly planets, you have, there's no scarcity. There is abundance. So every demigod has his own planet, and it's fine. I mean, there's no need to encroach on some other's property. Okay. So therefore there is still envy, but still not so prominent like in the earthly sphere. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada explains that the happiness in the heavenly planets is interrupted. Like the demigods, they are enjoying in the heavenly planets. However, their enjoyment is interrupted by the demons. Like the demons, occasionally they attack the heavenly planets and they drive Indra out of his post. And they occupy the heavenly planets, and then the demigods are in great anxiety for some time. And then they take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And then the Lord, of course, comes to protect them. The Lord comes and protects them, and then, they regain their kingdom. However, this keeps happening time and time again. The demons come, they overpower the demigods, and they drive them out, and then they take shelter. The demigods take shelter of the Supreme Lord, and then he comes and kills the demons, and again reinstates the demigods back in their position. So this is so in this way the enjoyment of the demigods is often interrupted. However, it is explained that the enjoyment of the demons in the lower planetary system, it is not interrupted. You don't hear that the demigods, they attack the lower planets and then they drove the demons out. Like the demigods attacked the Rasatal or Patal planet and then they drove the demons and Indra occupied their position. You don't hear that. Because the demigods, they are not trying to occupy someone else's place. Because they are happy where they are. I mean, they have abundance. So they're not worried about occupying someone else's, or they're grabbing someone else's property. Because they have abundance. And their mentality is also not so envious. But whereas the demons, they have their own planets. They have their own, in fact it is explained that the enjoyment in the lower planetary system is even greater than that of the heavenly planets. Why? That's because the demons have a very strong sense of enjoyment, because they are more attached or addicted to enjoyment, material enjoyment, than even the demigods. So therefore the facilities for enjoyment in the lower planetary systems are far greater than those in the higher planetary systems. So the demons have greater facilities for enjoyment than even the demigods. And their enjoyment is not even interrupted, because no one is trying to throw them out of their place. They've got their place. I mean, no one disturbs their enjoyment. Whereas the enjoyment of Indra or the demigods, it's often interrupted by the demons. So we can see the difference in mentality. The demons, they have ample, they also have abundance, but they're not satisfied even with that abundance. Their greed is very high. So they even want to unsettle Indra and take his abode for themselves. So that is the nature of demons. And Indra, on the other hand, he's like the Indra and the demigods, they are satisfied where they are, but at the same time they get disturbed when their enjoyment is taken away or challenged. So just like Indra got disturbed when Bali Maharaj took away his kingdom. So, his mother Aditi, she prayed to the Lord, performed the Payavrata, and then the Lord incarnates as Upendra and saves Indra. He takes the whole kingdom back, the heavenly kingdom back from Bali in the form of Vamandev, and then gives it back to Indra. We all know the story. So, so the point being that Indra, he is happy where he is. He's not trying to take away someone else's property. However, if his enjoyment is challenged, then he definitely becomes disturbed. Right? Just like in the case when Prithu Maharaj performed the yajna, the Ashwamedha yajna, he performed 99 Ashwamedha yajna, and he was going to perform the 100th. And anyone who performs 100 Ashwamedha yajnas becomes qualified to become Indra, becomes qualified to be Indra. Therefore, Indra's name is also Shatakratu, one who has performed 100 Ashwamedha yajnas. So Prithu Maharaj, he was not performing the yajnas in order to become Indra or to grab the position of Indra. He never had that in mind. He was just doing it for the welfare of his citizens. So when he was performing the 100th yajna, Indra got nervous because he was worried that probably Prithu Maharaj is also going to take away my position of being Indra. So he was concerned, he was worried. And then he tried to disturb the yajna by stealing the horse, and many times. So we'll discuss that story a little later in detail. But the point here being that Indra becomes definitely nervous when his position is challenged, although he doesn't try to grab others' property. But the demons, they are not satisfied with their own property, they want even others' property. That's the difference. So, however, the spiritual world is altogether different. The spiritual world, a pure devotee of the Lord, the residents of the spiritual world, they are all pure devotees of the Lord. So they are not worried about even maintaining their position. The mode of Vaikuntha is just simply dasana. That means servant to the servant to the servant. So they are not even attached to their personal comforts or even to liberation, what to speak of even material comforts. A pure devotee is even willing to go to hell. He is even willing to become a worm, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed in his song, Kita Janama Ho Yathatu Vadas Bahirmukha Brahma Janme Nahi Ash. I am happy to be an insect as your servant, my Lord, but without being your pure devotee, I don't even want to be a Brahma. So that's a pure devotee. That's the consciousness of Vaikuntha. And the consciousness of Vaikuntha is that unlimited forgiveness. As they say, love is the ability to forgive endlessly. Love is defined as the ability to forgive unlimitedly, endlessly. So therefore, that's the consciousness of Vaikuntha. They are even if they are abused, even if they are killed. There's a verse in the Puranas that says that Tiraskrita Vipralabdha Shapta Kshipta Hatavapi. What is it? I forget the next line. So the verse actually means that when a devotee, when a Vaishnava is rejected, despised, cursed, and even killed, a devotee never protests. In other words, he doesn't try to react. He doesn't react and he doesn't seek vengeance. He accepts it gratefully. So that's the consciousness of Vaikuntha. So that's altogether different than, far higher even than the consciousness of the demigods. So now why does the Krishna unsettle the demigods? Why is it that the demigods' enjoyment is interrupted, whereas the demons' enjoyment is not interrupted? The enjoyment of the demons is not interrupted because no one is the demigods are not trying to disturb their enjoyment. But whereas the demigods, they are peaceful where they are, but then their enjoyment is interrupted. It may seem like injustice because the demons, they get to enjoy their abodes without any breakage, whereas the demigods, they are always in anxiety. So the reason being that the demigods, they are devotees of the Lord. Not pure devotees, but they are devotees, they're mixed devotees, karma mishra bhaktas, fruitive devotees. But because they are devotees of the Lord does not want his devotees to be too attached to material enjoyment. So the Lord gives reminders to his devotees. Actually, you have to seek shelter ultimately only in me, not in material enjoyment. So to remind the devotees of the Lord, and to ensure that they don't become too attached to material enjoyment, they don't seek shelter of material comforts and material facilities. They rather seek shelter of the Lord. So to increase their surrender to the Lord and dependence on the Lord occasionally arranges for the demons to take over the heavenly planets and puts them in anxiety so that they ultimately have to again take shelter of the Lord. So basically the Lord is trying to bring them to devotional service. They're trying to make them devotees in that way. Whereas the demons, although apparently their sense enjoyment is not interrupted by the demigods, however, at the end, it is explained, the Sudarshana Chakra at the end puts an end, a complete, full stop to all their enjoyment. At the end, at the very end. So that's what Krishna does. Krishna actually, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I cast the demons lower and lower into the hellish planets. What is it? Tanaham dushatah kruran samsareshu naradhavan kshipam yajasram asubhan asurishveva yonishu. Those who are envious and those who are cruel, the demons, I cast them again and again into the cycle of birth and death. Asurim yoni mapanna mudha janmani mam aprapya eva kauntaya tato yanti adhavam gati. So again and again, life after life, they are born in demon families, and in this case, gradually they go lower and lower and lower, and ultimately they attain a very, very insignificant life, like probably like that of a mosquito or something. So the Lord lets them accumulate their sinful reactions so that they can actually ultimately be casted to a lower form of life. Sometimes we see if a devotee commits a mistake, immediately he is rectified. Immediately he gets the reaction. And then the devotee rectifies himself. But whereas if someone who is not sincere and if he is envious by nature, he commits offenses and he doesn't get the reaction immediately. It's because the Lord allows him to commit more and more reactions, because when he doesn't get the reaction, he thinks that, I'm fine. I have committed this sin and I didn't get any reaction, so I'm fine. I can keep on doing this. In that way, he goes on with his sinful activities. At the end, it becomes so big that, he has to, he completely, he's destroyed altogether. So that is, that's how the Lord arranges for the demons to go lower and lower and finally attain a very abominable situation. But whereas he is helping the demigods by not letting him to be attached, not letting them to be attached. Right? On the other hand, Bali Maharaj gives a completely different picture. Right? But some of the demons who have some sincerity, Krishna punishes them. By punishing them, he's showing the greatest mercy. Like Bali Maharaj says that, in fact, O Lord, you are partial to the demons. In fact, you love the demons more than the demigods. Why? How? Because Bali Maharaj says that because we are too attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, by destroying us, you are relieving us from that attachment, and you are helping us to take shelter of you. Whereas you give material enjoyment to the demigods, which is like poison. Right? So to those demons, who take shelter of the Lord, or who are like Bali Maharaj, demons like Bali Maharaj, who have a spark of devotion in their heart, Krishna destroys them, but in a way that will enable them to revive their devotional service. But for those demons who are completely atheistic and who are offensive, the Lord destroys them not directly but in the form of time. And then, as Krishna says in the Gita, casts them into the lowest forms of existence. So, in this way, we can see that those who are non-envious, they are actually awarded ultimately at the end of the day. Just like, for example, Prithu Maharaj, again coming back to that story of Prithu Maharaj and Indra. Prithu Maharaj performed the 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, but then what happened? He was going to perform the 100th one, but Indra was coming again and again in the guise of a mendicant, and then he would steal the horse. So when he would do that repeatedly, Prithu Maharaj would send his son, Jitashva, to go and capture Indra, and in fact to kill him. But since Indra was in the guise of a sannyasi or a mendicant, therefore Prithu Maharaj's son could not kill him, because he couldn't kill a saintly person. So finally, Prithu Maharaj decided to do it himself. Like he was prepared to kill Indra himself, But then Lord Brahma intervenes, and then Lord Brahma intervenes and tells Prithu Maharaj that do not kill Indra, because Indra, he's attached to his kingdom, he's attached to his post. But after all, he's a devotee, he's trying to do his service. So it's okay. It's not the end of the world if you don't perform the 100th yajna. It's okay, you did 99, that's good enough. And then, make truce with Indra. Right? Here, it's like apparently a very strange situation, because it's Indra. It's Indra who's at fault, because he was trying to steal the horse of Prithu Maharaj. So Indra is supposed to be chastised, but Brahma is chastising Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj ends up getting chastised, so for no fault of his. So that's like the equation in bhakti. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand, because sometimes when two devotees fight, if someone is more advanced, more mature, then the authorities actually chastise the more advanced devotee who may not be at fault, because they are expecting a higher standard from him. So Brahma said, you are Prithu, you are like a great devotee of the Lord, so you can forgive. So in that way, Prithu immediately, when he heard that from Brahma, he immediately accepted that instruction. He forgives Indra. And when Prithu forgave Indra, in fact, he hugged him. He, gave up all his envy in his heart. And when Lord Vishnu saw this behavior of Prithu Maharaj, he personally comes down to the yajna of Prithu Maharaj and he blesses Prithu. And even today we are reading in Srimad Bhagavatam about Prithu Maharaj. So he ends up becoming far more glorious than Indra. Right? So the point being, in bhakti the equations, are sometimes very strange. However, at the end of the day, everyone ends up getting the blessings of the Lord, the mercy of the Lord, which is far greater than what we deserve. So therefore, forgiveness is a very important quality which we also learn from Prithu Maharaj. So therefore the point is that the point being that like Prithu Maharaj, he is like showing us the way to be devotees. And then we also see among devotees this principle. This principle is very important, even among devotees. Like for being leaders, especially, one has to be free from envy. A leader is someone who is supposed to bring everyone together, Vaishnavas together, not to divide the Vaishnavas. A Krishna conscious leader brings everyone together, doesn't divide the devotees. We have I once heard the example of one leader. He may not be so-called devotee according to our definition, but he is a great leader. There was this person. This happened in America. This person, he was he ran for presidency in USA, and he was not very famous. In fact, he initially ran to be a senator or a congressman, and he had a competitor, and he had two competitors. Like it was like three candidates who were fighting for the same post in elections. One of them, he was like a cheater, and he was quite popular, and he won the majority votes. And in fact, the election was not held. In fact, he was projected to win the elections, and it was expected that this person would win the election. And he was a cheat. And Abraham Lincoln knew very well that he was going to win. This cheater would win. So what he decided is, he decided to step out. And in fact, he announced all over the media that, I want to step out, and whoever wants to vote for me, please vote for the other candidate, who was also a competitor of this person. So then everyone voted for the other guy who is not a cheater, and he won the election. And in that way, the one who was a cheater, he couldn't win the election. I hope I'm not confusing you all. Hope I would express myself clearly. So and the third person is of course Abraham Lincoln, and he actually quit the elections just because he didn't want the cheater to win. So now people were impressed, and when people were impressed, he ran for presidency in the next election, and he became president. So in other words, by sacrificing his position, he actually won the hearts of people. And then, more important than that is, after he became president, the way he dealt with the congressmen, that was very remarkable. How? Because generally, when a person becomes president or a leader, he would select, in his ministers, among his ministers, he would select all those who are like favorable to him naturally, and he would have his own men as the ministers, cabinet ministers, and holding important portfolios, taking all the important decisions. So he would have his own favorite people in that circle, in that cabinet. Whereas Abraham Lincoln did the opposite. What he did is, he didn't care who supported him. He didn't care who was, who liked him, who didn't like him. He just saw who was more competent to the post and who would be able to serve the country better. And he selected such people. In fact, he selected those people who would criticize him the most. He selected those people who hated him, who often criticized him, and who had opposing views as him. And he gave all the important positions to such people. Now, imagine what would have happened. Because he did that, those people were won over. And everyone, the same people who criticized him, they later on started to appreciate him, saying that he's one of the best leaders, ever known in history. And even today, he's the most popular among all U.S. presidents. He's the most loved and popular one for these qualities. So the point is, being a leader, he never thought of himself. He was not attached to him being the president and having control of things, but he was more concerned with how he could do his service by bringing all the best people together to serve the country. So that's non-envy, basically. So being leaders, we are all leaders to some degree or other. So being leaders, we are all, our first priority should be how best we can serve. It doesn't matter, even if someone may not like us, or we may hate that person may hate us. But if that person has genuine qualities and qualifications to serve, then we are going to encourage that person to serve to the best capacity. And that's non-envy. And when you see that quality in a leader, that inspires faith, that inspires people to dedicate and commit themselves wholeheartedly to the movement. So even among as Vaishnavas, we should learn this principle of not criticizing Vaishnavas just because we have some personal differences. Rather glorifying every Vaishnava, even if we have personal differences from that Vaishnava, or Vaishnavi, to glorify them for their qualities and to give them what they deserve, to give the recognition they deserve, to give them the credit they deserve, to give them the facilitation and service that they deserve. So that is characteristic of a Vaishnava leader. We see that in Prithu Maharaj. We see that in the great Vaishnava kings like Dhruva Maharaj also, of course. As we see Dhruva Maharaj, he fighted the whole Yakshas just because they killed his stepbrother with whom he was at one point he was competing. So in this way we can see Suniti also. He rode in the same palanquin along with Suruchi. So in this way, we can see several other examples among Vaishnavas of forgiveness, of being willing to extend oneself for the sake of others. So this is the lesson for today. And from this purport, so I'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, you can feel free to ask at this moment, or if you have any comments, you can make it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for such nice lecture on forgiveness. Thank you for your time and association. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the opportunity to serve, share some Krishna Katha. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Prabhuji, did you read all verses until 41?
I just read the last verse and purport, because the three verses before that, I just summarized the meaning of those three verses.
No, Prabhuji, we did not read the verses 38. Why we are taking all these verses? Because they don't have purport.
Yeah, I understand. So what I did is since the last verse has purport, so I read that verse in translation and I summarized the meaning of the previous three verses actually.
Okay, good.
In the talk, yeah.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for your question. Yes, Prabhuji, we have seen in the temple that there is a two group of different Guru Maharaj and temple president also not supported. And today we learned such a nice lesson from you. That time the Vaishnava becomes so confused that what they have to do, Prabhu. We have to pray that this situation is not coming in any temple.
Right.
Because newcomer are...
Yeah, I mean, that is quite... Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Yeah.
Those who are coming, newcomer, they stop coming in the temple, that what's going in the temple. So that 8 months period is very critical for all the Vaishnava. By Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev Mercy, now everything is fine.
Yeah. Well, instead of expecting others to implement it, let us start with ourselves. Let us, we can try to first, try to imbibe this quality of non-envy in our own hearts and set the example. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if someone is not behaving perfectly or properly, then instead of disturbing that person, we just need to set the example, show them by our own example on what to do and how to do. So instead of expecting others to follow it, we should start with ourselves and let us see how we can implement that quality of non-envy, and then by our own behavior we can try to inspire others, and that's the quality of a Vaishnava. Yeah. And yes, eventually, such leaders will come out, and then gradually, whatever differences are, because ultimately we are all Vaishnavas. So eventually, it is expected that everyone will come together and under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, and the movement will go forward. But the question is whether we are contributing to that or whether we are not. That is the question. So let us pray to Krishna that we will be able to, bring that mood among the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. See, Prabhuji, like Mataji said, same situation here also, Prabhuji. One senior devotee came from some other place, and he has a very good impact on devotees, and some initiated devotees were, they were, and he was like, sometimes being very practical, like diluting the principles of Srila Prabhupada. So we wanted to we try to put our opinion also, that, and what he did, he just made two groups, Prabhuji, for no reason. There are two groups now. Some people go in this group, some go, and looking at our this thing, new people doesn't, like Mataji said, new people doesn't want to come. See, devotee, new people, they get attracted only when they see love among each other. So there is, see, how can we are trying our best, Prabhuji, but see, why this situation is coming to us. We are very small in compared to, if you go to Hindu center, other means other things like other like some other different people. Compared to them, ISKCON is itself very small, and we are dividing 2 and 3 and 4 parts, and we are becoming again smaller and smaller. If we want to make temple, we have to get together and do service, then only it will be possible. See, and fighting, so much fighting is going on, Prabhuji. Why? We are learning every day, we are learning Bhagavatam, and we don't want to argue, and we just, same like thing you are using, divide and rule. That's it.
Yeah.
Senior Vaishnava.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not talking about the newcomers. I'm talking about senior Vaishnava, who is supposed to be very matured and leader of everyone, and will be like be like a commander of Srila Prabhupada's army. But he is like he divided nicely divided in 2 parts, and he is doing his separate programs, and we are doing our separate programs, and
Yes, Mataji.
yeah, that is unfortunate.
Like you said, Vaishnava should not, Vaishnava should put all devotees together, not separate them. But instead of putting together, nicely they are separating, Prabhuji.
That is unfortunate. So what we need is leadership quality. Someone who is a good leader, everyone needs a good leader. And so someone who can unify all different groups and bring them together. That is definitely required. And we can start with ourselves somewhere, wherever we can. We cannot change others. We can try to change ourselves only. Yeah.
In this condition, we are very junior. In this condition, we are very junior. We can say anything to that senior Vaishnava, because both are so sincere Vaishnava. So it's very painful that why this is happening as gone, why this is happening. We are hardly 400, 500 devotee in our temple, and why these 2 and 3 groups. We can't say anything to that senior Vaishnava. So in this condition, we also become, it's difficult to do a seva in the temple also, Prabhuji. But by Srila Prabhupada mercy, we continue our seva, and every day pray to Shri Radha Madan Mohan, and by Shri Radha Madan Mohan mercy and Shri Panchatattva mercy, after 8-9 months, everything become fine, Prabhuji. That's also mercy of Shri Jagannath, Balaram, Subhadra, and Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. I was also there. I don't know if you all remember. I was there for some time.
Yes, Prabhu.
Anyway.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have one question, Prabhu.
Yes.
So, yes, what you call the demons, and demons have the more enjoyment than the demigods, but the demigods have the more opulences, more healthy, more way, right? How we can understand that demons have the more
well, yeah, because see, Krishna gives everyone what they want. Like the thing is, as we say, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He awards everyone the fulfillment of their desires. So the demigods, they've got power. But at the same time, the demons, they are like more attached to sense gratification. Just like when Krishna came as Mohini Murti, it was the demons who got more attracted than so they could be cheated by Mohini Murti very easily, because they are more attached to sense enjoyment. So since that's what they want, so Krishna is giving them that thing, what they want. And sometimes it may appear that pure devotees, they have nothing. Sometimes some pure devotee may be very poor, like Sudama. Nothing. But then, why you may ask why Krishna does not give, like Kolavicha Sridhar and many other great Vaishnavas. They may have practically nothing, but they are happy because they are not interested in those things. So Krishna also doesn't want to disturb them by giving them unnecessarily what they don't want. So therefore, since that's what the demons want, they get it. But at the end, it will all be destroyed, and then they'll have to go to lower form of life. But the demigods, they are disturbed again and again, but then that will help them to increase their devotional service and then progress on the path of bhakti. So Krishna gives everyone according to their desires and what they deserve. Yes. So does it answer your question, or you still have something?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Prabhuji, you were telling, as we all are leader and as far as we do Bhakti Vriksha, all these things. Sometimes what is my personal experience, some is very good to learn about Krishna consciousness, or kind of very innocent, and some are little it takes time. But how we can make the same mood to them, how we can encourage both of them. Sometimes if we encourage new people, other people, they may think maybe we are giving more favor to who is eager to learn. Means how we can maintain that situation, Prabhu?
So you are asking how you can encourage the new people? Is that your question?
No, so many people are there, but how we can encouraging the same way, means we don't discriminate this way, even though they some are not very eager to learn, or some are eager to learn in Krishna consciousness. How we encourage in make not differentiate like.
Yeah, the best way to encourage is by our own example. So when we become more sincere in our bhakti, when we are setting the right example, that is the best way to encourage devotees. The best way to encourage devotees is by our own example. And then try to slowly inspire them by our friendly relationship and by the way we are talking, the way we are dealing with them. In that way, that's the best way, And yes, we have to be sometimes patient, like Devaki and Vasudeva also were very, very patient for Krishna to appear. So it's not that immediately results will come, but if we persistently put our efforts in the right direction, then Krishna will definitely reciprocate. There is no doubt about it. So first of all, our sadhana, like by regularly doing our sadhana, chanting properly, never missing our rounds, hearing, reading and all that, attending, temple programs. So in that way, and also by our behavior, by never criticizing Vaishnavas, by being respectful, at the same time trying to care for the new devotees who are, trying to extend ourselves by giving our time, efforts. So by these qualities, by our care and compassion, and by strictness in our devotional service, then we can inspire the new people to. The best example is better than precept, as they say. So by our example, it is better to instruct than by just giving lecture or teaching only. So that is very important. People are seeing what we are doing, so therefore we have to try to set a good example and pray to Srila Prabhupada that we never deviate. And initially, people need a lot of care and compassion and forgiveness, because like if some people, they don't chant, they don't do their service properly, then we should not get upset with them. Tolerate, forgive their mistakes, and then gradually they will feel that we are forgiving, we are so forgiving, so many mistakes, but still we are always being forgiven. So they feel, then we can win their hearts in that way. So even if sometimes they make mistakes, we forgive them. We don't take it seriously. But with ourselves, we should be very strict. Strict with oneself and lenient to others. So then, over a period of time, then it's easy to win their hearts. And they will also understand, like, I made so many mistakes, but this person is not angry or is not upset. They're forgiving me. So that will also win people's hearts. I don't know if that answers your question. But,
no, Prabhu, it kind of makes sense. Thank you, Prabhu. It was very nice class.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very, very beautiful class. Very beautiful question answer session.
Hare Krishna.
What you are saying is we have when I came to Krishna Conscious, my neighbors used to invite me for the program. I never used to go there, but still they used to come and give me the prasadam always. That made me, I was eating every time, and I have taken almost 10 times prasadam. I was enjoying the prasadam, but I was not going to the program. That made me think, why still I'm not going, but they knock my door and they give me prasadam. Why should I don't go and sit for some time? It's like when you send me this, you said you have to forgive, and then they will come out from there. I have just remembered that when Mataji used to...
Mataji, actually, I can.
Not able to
I
hear.
can't hear you. Can you?
Loudly.
I can barely hear you.
You can hear now. Mataji.
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay. So Prabhu, you are saying about just forgive, and then they will just come to the correct path. When the devotees used to give me the prasadam, my neighbors, even though I not go to the program, they used to give me all the time. I never go to the program. After 10 times I realized that what mistake I have done, and then I started going to the program of Bhakti Vishya. So just I remember that point, Prabhu, when you have told about that. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hope you heard it, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that experience. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu, for the beautiful class. Anybody else has any question? Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
No, Mataji, I don't have anything. I was only asking if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, we can end the call. Okay. Pancham kalpariveshya kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant koti vaishnava.